So the tech billionaire bros are in full panic today as the markets are crashing and the bubble is getting called out. Check out this headline then. Big Short star Michael Burry's $1 billion bet against tech giants shakes the market. And if you're curious, he bet against NVIDIA and Palantir. And if you don't know Michael Burry, he's the guy who was made famous in the Big Short movie. He bet against the housing market and was right during the great financial crisis, and now is betting against the AI bubble. And what you're going to see is really funny. It's the CEO of Palantir, right? One of these companies is going to go on TV and basically cry, cry, cry. Have a listen to this.
As far as I can tell, the two companies he's shorting are the ones making all the money, which is super weird. Like the idea that chips and ontology is what you want to short is bat crazy.
So he's going on TV swearing like, oh, if you bet against me, you crazy, bro. And, this guy's worth nearly $18 billion and he's crying on TV. I get it though, right? Look at this. His stock went down about 9, almost 10% in one day. And if you look at the P ratio of this thing, 624, basically you could argue this thing's like 30, 40 times overvalued. And it could be a massive crash. And this could be really the signal that gets everyone panicking and the selling, and it appeared all over the market today. There's a bunch of red. You can see Amazon, Tesla, NVIDIA, all of these were down. And Michael Burry's again betting against Palantir and NVIDIA. Warren Buffett is also selling stocks, $6 billion off the table. We talked about before, Buffett sitting on a record pile of cash, so he's on the sidelines, right? And then you got Elon Musk, a billionaire, begging to be a trillionaire. He's like, oh, I just need that trillion. Don't you want a world trillionaire that you can worship? Maybe. And, while the billionaires are crying, the government is shut down and people are struggling, right? And we're looking at now the longest government shutdown in history. And so why this whole thing is absolutely absurd is you got this billionaire then crying on national TV.
Palantir, because we called a lot of things that are kind of establishment views that often are viewed as kind of being super woke into question in every single assumption of Palantir. The people who piled in to Palantir were people investing their own money, often people who are not in the investor class, non-experts. And even till today, the experts sit on the sideline and say, hey, this can't be true, while the average American who invested in Palantir, and for the first time, maybe arguably since World War II, average Americans got venture returns investing in Palantir. So you have this massive divide between the average person who evaluated themselves and the expert class that still was working on assumptions that have historically not been true.
So essentially you have that guy telling everyone, hey, this is a massive bubble. We've convinced all these people, retail investors, to buy Palantir stock. And if you convince enough of them to do it, the stock goes up, sure. But it's all based on hype. And that's why I wanted to show you his own words. You don't see this that often on TV to basically people point out the bubble. Then these are the headlines today. U.S. stocks slide as investors fret over high valuations for AI companies. Essentially, we're valuing these companies like your Palantirs or NVIDIAs or whatever to be, tripling their revenue and earnings every single year. But it's just not going to happen. Like you can't have unlimited growth. And remember, a lot of this is based on building all these data centers to replace all of you, which doesn't make any sense. And then you get this news. This is also today. Companies are firing. IBM cutting thousands of jobs in the fourth quarter. And we've have, Walmart is firing. Amazon is firing. Target is firing. UPS is firing. The government, again, is shut down. Stocks are selling off. Like, this is not a good look. You can see it in the markets. And then you got the President of the United States, celebrating like it's 1920s Great Gatsby stuff, and that was right before the market crash. I mean, all of these signals it's kind of crazy how history works. And I guess every 100 years we have this massive crash. Stock bulls get wake-up call from Wall Street CEOs, market wrap, and that was all about how around Wall Street they're all starting to call each other and say, hey, it's a bubble, hey, it's a bubble, hey, it's a bubble, and people are getting out.
Clearly, you look at the analysts. Most analysts, think that this stock is overpriced. You have people like Michael Burry out there shorting it. Everybody who's shorted this stock thus far has been on the losing end of it. And I'm trying to understand, if you look at sort of the growth trajectory, the sales, how much of the sales, frankly, I think actually even there was a huge part coming from even existing customers, and just what the scale of this thing ultimately looks like in your mind.
Okay, there are two parts. Of course, when I hear short sellers attacking what I believe is clearly the most important software company in America and therefore in the world in terms of our impact, simply to make money, and trying to call the AI revolution into question where we have this anomalous numbers, 114, rule of 40, et cetera. It just is super triggering because these people, they could pick on any company in the world. They have to pick on the one that actually helps people, that actually has made money for the average person, that is actually supporting our warfighters. Why do they have to go after us? And I'll tell you what, it's crazy motivating, because I'll tell you why the short sellers are constantly getting screwed by Palantir. Because every time they short us, we just are like tripling down on getting the better numbers, and part, honestly, to make them poorer.
To make them poor. But guys, this is what a bubble looks like. When you got, again, Billionaire crying on national TV, trying to make the case that, average Americans benefit from my company. We're all making money. Everything's going great. It's a bubble. Michael Burry, this is what he was tweeting out. Basically, he's showing here how the growth isn't nearly what it was hyped up to be. He's showing cloud growth in the past and cloud growth now, so basically it's slowing. There's only so much of these data centers that you need. That's basically what it boils down to. That's what we've been talking about, the data center thing recently. And everyone's been tweeting out this chart also as of late. This was from Bloomberg. Basically, you're looking at circular financing among a lot of these AI companies. And we're going to look back in history and we're like, yep, that was definitely a bubble. If you don't know what this means, essentially you got a big company invest in a smaller company, and then that smaller company then buys products from the big company, and then they invest in each other, and then they all borrow money to, again, keep the bubble going. That's basically what it boils down to, circular financing. And Michael Burry is then quoting books talking about, other previous bubbles. This is also what's been happening as well. The president's kids, right? How two tiny banks are helping Trump's sons build a crypto empire. It's a bubble. It's obviously a bubble. And the question's always been, how long can this thing last? And that's why it's funny to actually see the billionaire CEO get called out and then watch him panic. Watch some more.
Now, you could argue, I don't know, like they're constantly like, but they thought Palantir was overvalued at 10. They thought it was overvalued at 20. I'm not even here saying what the valuation is. And you figure out the value, but they're in the business of being skeptical and being wrong, and we're in the business of giving an unfair advantage to American workers, American warfighters, and our investors.
And so while the tech CEO is crying, you also have got this. Bitcoin falls below 100,000 as risk-off mood weighs on crypto. So now people are getting out of their doggy coins and monkey coins, etc. And it was funny because, true story, about 2 weeks ago, my wife's dad was asking about crypto, which he never talks about this stuff at all. Like never would ever talk about crypto, is because it was kind of being hyped up on the news. And as you always say, when a bubble is basically at the top, if your taxi driver, your Uber driver, right, your hairdresser, your shoe shiner starts talking about, hey, we should buy doggy coins in crypto, that's the top. I'm telling you, that's the top. And it's not only that. Not only my wife's dad is talking about crypto. It was even mentioned on South Park this week. If you guys saw the recent episode, they were talking about crypto pump and dumps and actually talking about corruption in the White House. I mean, this is all looking that way. You're looking at outflows. I'm showing you a chart here on crypto. Bitcoin, actually, I was wrong. It's not 15% down on the month. It's 17% down on the month. And then you got tech billionaire CEOs crying on TV.
Being short is a very difficult place to be because you can lose everything, right? You can drive these people into the ground.
Thank God.
Like Michael Burry put a really big bet on it. It's almost $1 billion. It's $912 million. That's a big step for him to put into that. When you say you redouble your efforts, what do you do? What do you go back in?
Well, first of all, he's actually putting a short on AI. So the way I read it was us and NVIDIA, and it's like
he's the biggest position is you, though.
Yeah.
I'm just looking through all of his
great.
shorts.
Okay. So, and then, by the way, with the shorts, it's very complex. It's not even clear that, honestly, I think what is going on here is market manipulation. We delivered the best results anyone's ever seen. It's not even clear he's not doing this to get out of his position. I mean, these people, they claim to be ethical, but, they're actually shorting one of the great businesses of the world. And I'm not against shorting as a matter of theory, but I'm just saying pick something that is not doing a noble task.
And it's funny because for the average person, you probably have no idea what Palantir is. And let me read a description here. Palantir, which was founded in 2003, so it's not a new company, it's right, 2003, by Karp, that's a guy that we've been watching cry, and Peter Thiel, the guy who claims he's the expert on the Antichrist, and he's also linked to Elon Musk. They just made fun of him recently on South Park. These are all connected. And others sells AI software to businesses and governments around the world. Technology is used to collate, analyze data from supply chain analysts to surveillance of military targets and identification for systems for undocumented migrants. So there's been a lot of rumors out there that Trumpers are using this technology to run their ICE stuff. I mean, this is all a bubble. And this is Peter Thiel, who some people really love. He's like this right-wing campaign financer kind of person. That's the best way to describe it. And again, they were making fun of him recently. And they had the song, Peter Thiel knows about the Antichrist. And if you saw it, you're like, what the heck? They were really talking about Peter Thiel and the Antichrist. And this is also where we're at. And then you've got this famous method of valuing stocks is pointing towards some rough years ahead. And what they're referring to is the Shiller P/E ratio, which is basically just for inflation. Look at the price of stocks compared to how much companies earn, right, as a market as a whole. And you got a really high read of 40, right? Basically, you're overpaying for stocks. You're paying a high price compared to how much money they actually make. And this AI stuff is all a massive bubble. So that's what's going on. I'd like to hear your thoughts, and I'll catch you all in the next video.